Um, so it was more to control emotions. It's a surprise for everybody, except maybe to me.
Talent can win matches, but discipline is what builds a legend. Juan Carlos Ferrero spent years drilling that message into Carlos Alcaraz. Every practice mattered. Every recovery day mattered. Every decision outside tennis could eventually appear on the court. Now Ferrero is gone, Alcaraz has been photographed enjoying time in Italy with Spanish entrepreneur Claudia Canals, and the tennis world is asking one uncomfortable question. Is Carlos still completely serious about his career? Before anyone starts planning a celebrity wedding, let us be clear. Neither Alcaraz nor Canals has confirmed a relationship. Still, the timing has caused a storm. Do you believe fans are overreacting, or does Ferrero's old warning suddenly look more important than ever? Hit subscribe because we need to unpack what is real, what is rumor, and what Carlos must prove next. Pictures from Italy were all it took. Carlos Alcaraz, one of the biggest stars in tennis, was seen enjoying a yacht trip along the Amalfi Coast with Claudia Canals. She is a Spanish entrepreneur and digital marketing professional who has also appeared on television. Soon, social media detectives did what they always do. They examined every smile, every seat, every Instagram post, and probably the position of every beach towel. Suddenly, Canals was being called Alcaraz's new girlfriend. There was only one small problem. Carlos never confirmed that claim. Claudia did not confirm it either. Public photographs showed two people spending time together. They did not reveal the private details of their relationship. Yet tennis gossip does not wait for facts to finish warming up. The photos arrived during a sensitive period in Alcaraz's career. He had been dealing with wrist tendon inflammation, an injury that kept him away from major competition. Missing Roland Garros and Wimbledon created serious questions about his fitness, preparation, and ability to return at full power. That context changed everything. Had these photographs appeared after Carlos lifted another major trophy, many fans would have laughed and moved on. A young champion enjoying Italy after winning everything? Nobody would care. However, when a player is injured and absent from the biggest stages, every holiday picture becomes evidence in a trial nobody officially opened. One group sees a normal young man taking a break. Another sees a superstar losing focus while his rivals keep working. Neither side has the complete story. Alcaraz is entitled to have a personal life. He is not a tennis robot stored inside a charging station between tournaments. Rest, friendships, travel, and emotional balance can help an athlete survive a brutal season. Modern tennis demands constant flights, endless training, sponsor events, media duties, physical treatment, and public attention. Imagine living that schedule at 23. Every meal becomes content, each smile becomes a headline. One afternoon on a boat turns into a supposed career crisis. Apparently, the modern tennis fan can diagnose wrist injuries and romantic relationships from 6 blurry photographs. Still, the concern did not appear from nowhere. Ferrero repeatedly built Alcaraz's career around discipline. Their partnership began when Carlos was only 15. Together, they developed a fearless teenager into a world number 1 and multiple Grand Slam champion. Ferrero provided more than technical advice. He created boundaries, demanded professional habits, and tried to control the chaos surrounding a rapidly growing global star. That relationship ended in December 2025. Ferrero later said they did not agree on how to move forward. He explained that he wanted certain conditions while Alcaraz had different ideas. Those conditions have never been fully revealed. Private team matters remained private, although Ferrero acknowledged that family and the wider environment may have influenced the split. Notice what he did not say. Ferrero did not blame Claudia Canals. He did not accuse Alcaraz of abandoning tennis for a relationship. No verified interview supports that dramatic claim. However, his comments created a larger question about control. Who decides how Carlos trains now? Who tells him when rest has become too much? Who challenges the family? Who says no when sponsors, friends, trips, exhibitions, and business opportunities begin fighting for space on the calendar? Ferrero used to occupy that uncomfortable position. Great coaches are not paid merely to applaud from the box. Anyone can clap after a forehand winner. A serious coach must deliver the message a superstar does not want to hear. That job becomes harder when money, fame, relatives, managers, and commercial partners surround the player. Alcaraz's camp still contains experienced people. Samuel Lopez is not some random volunteer who won a coaching contest at a supermarket. He understands elite tennis and knows Carlos well. The new structure can succeed without Ferrero. Even so, replacing a coach is easier than replacing his authority. Ferrero had history with Alcaraz. He could speak to the champion and the child he once trained. Their bond gave him emotional power that another coach may need years to earn. When Ferrero demanded discipline, Carlos knew the demand came from someone who had helped construct his career. Now that voice stands outside the room. That is why the Italy pictures became symbolic. They do not prove a lack of commitment, but they arrived when fans were already wondering whether Alcaraz wanted more freedom after separating from his strictest professional influence. Freedom sounds wonderful until results disappear. The main issue is not whether Claudia Canals is his girlfriend. Frankly, that part belongs to them. The serious issue is whether Alcaraz can manage his freedom without weakening the habits that made him special. Carlos has always played with joy. His smile, creativity, and emotional energy separate him from colder competitors. Trying to turn him into a silent machine would destroy part of his magic. Ferrero understood that balance better than most. He encouraged Alcaraz's aggressive personality while teaching him when to control it. Carlos could attempt the spectacular shot, but he also needed patience. He could enjoy success, though practice still had to begin on time. He could remain close to his family, but professional choices had to serve professional goals. That system produced extraordinary results. After the split, Alcaraz faced the hardest test of his career. Could he maintain the same standards when the person enforcing them was no longer present? Injury made the answer more difficult. Wrist problems are dangerous for any tennis player. They affect the serve, forehand acceleration, confidence, and ability to commit fully during contact. Even when medical scans improve, doubt can remain. A player may protect the joint without realizing it, changing technique and placing pressure elsewhere. Recovery also creates a strange public image. Fans see vacations while the player may see rehabilitation. A morning could include treatment, strength work, and controlled hitting. The afternoon might include a boat ride. Social media only receives the boat. That difference matters. We should not label Alcaraz unserious merely because he was photographed relaxing. Elite athletes do not need to sit inside a dark room looking miserable to prove they care. Recovery includes mental distance from competition. Yet Carlos must understand how the situation looks. He missed 2 Grand Slams. His former coach had publicly expressed pain over their split. Questions about competing visions remained unresolved. Then photographs appeared with a rumored new woman during his recovery. Of course, people connected the dots. Some of those dots may belong to completely different pictures, but gossip rarely worries about artistic accuracy. The harsh truth is that Alcaraz can end the argument very quickly. He does not need a press conference about his private life. He does not owe strangers an explanation of every personal relationship. His racket can answer everything. If Carlos returns healthy, competes with discipline, and challenges for the US Open, the yacht photographs become harmless summer content. Fans will call him relaxed, balanced, and refreshed. Should he return poorly prepared, lose early, or suffer another physical setback, those same images will be used against him. Sport can be brutally unfair. Winning turns a holiday into smart recovery. Losing turns it into evidence of distraction. That is why Ferrero's absence matters more than Claudia's presence. Ferrero represented structure. He was the person associated with hard work, technical growth, long-term planning, and uncomfortable honesty. Canals has become a symbol of freedom and life outside the court, even though she never requested that role. Placing those two people against each other would be misleading. There is no public proof that they have any conflict. Ferrero has not publicly blamed her for anything. Claudia cannot be held responsible for decisions made by an adult professional athlete. Carlos owns those decisions. On one hand, he has earned the right to enjoy his success. He has already achieved more than most players accomplish during an entire career. Major titles, the #1 ranking, historic victories, and global fame arrived before his mid-20s. On the other hand, greatness does not care about what happened yesterday. Jannik Sinner will not stop improving because Carlos wants a longer holiday. Younger players will not wait politely while Alcaraz figures out his new team. Novak Djokovic built his career by treating every detail as important. The next generation will copy that obsession. Talent creates an advantage, routine protects it. Ferrero knew that better than almost anyone. His own playing career reached world number 1 and included a Roland Garros title. He understood how quickly momentum could disappear through injuries, changing confidence, or small compromises. Carlos may have viewed some of Ferrero's rules as restrictive. That would be normal after 7 years together. A player grows older, gains experience, and wants a stronger voice. Coaches also develop fixed ideas. Successful partnerships can reach a point where respect remains, but progress becomes difficult. Their separation does not automatically mean either man betrayed the other. Ferrero admitted he was hurt. He also left open the possibility of working with Alcaraz again someday. That is not the language of somebody trying to destroy his former player. It sounds like a man who still cares, but believes the old arrangement became impossible. Carlos also thanked Ferrero for their time together. Behind the polite words, something clearly changed. Perhaps Alcaraz wanted greater freedom over scheduling and team decisions. Maybe Ferrero wanted firm conditions Carlos would no longer accept. Family influence may have played a role. Several factors could have combined. Anything more specific remains speculation. The new romance rumor therefore risks becoming a convenient explanation for a complicated professional story. People love simple villains. A woman appears beside a famous athlete, and suddenly she is blamed for his injury, coaching split, schedule, hairstyle, and possibly the weather. That story is easy to sell. Reality is usually less dramatic and more demanding. Alcaraz's career depends on training quality, medical decisions, tournament selection, technical adjustments, motivation, and team communication. A personal relationship might affect his emotional life, but nobody outside his circle knows whether the effect is positive, negative, or completely irrelevant. Claudia may simply be a friend. She could be someone Carlos is dating. Either possibility tells us almost nothing about his professional seriousness. Plenty of champions maintained relationships while dominating their sports. Rafael Nadal built a stable personal life without losing his competitive hunger. Roger Federer traveled with a family and continued winning. Djokovic balanced marriage, children, business interests, and historic ambition. Romance does not end careers, poor decisions do. That distinction should guide the discussion. Carlos must protect his wrist, choose tournaments carefully, and avoid rushing back merely to silence critics. Returning too early would be more irresponsible than taking an extra week on holiday. At the same time, his team must prove that recovery has structure. Fans need visible progress, practice footage, confident movement, a controlled schedule, and honest medical updates would reduce the noise. Silence allows gossip to fill every empty space. When nobody explains what is happening, a yacht photograph becomes the loudest available evidence. Ferrero was often the reassuring figure during uncertain periods. His presence suggested that somebody serious was controlling the process. Without him, Samuel Lopez and the rest of the team must build that same trust. They cannot do it through speeches. Results will decide whether the new model works. Former players and analysts will naturally question Alcaraz because his potential is enormous. Nobody creates this much noise around an ordinary player. Carlos is judged against Nadal, Federer, Djokovic, and the history books. Every missed opportunity feels bigger because he possesses the ability to become one of the greatest ever. That pressure can become poisonous. A young athlete should not be forced to sacrifice every normal experience to satisfy strangers online. Constant judgment can drain the joy that powers his tennis. Carlos needs enough freedom to remain himself. Still, generational careers require unusual sacrifice. The real challenge is finding the line. Too much control can suffocate him. Too little structure can waste his prime. Ferrero once helped maintain that balance. Alcaraz must now prove he can create it without him. Picture the scene at his comeback. Every camera will study the wrist. Commentators will examine his serve speed. Opponents will attack his forehand side. Fans will look toward the coaching box and compare every reaction with Ferrero's old presence. One loss will produce panic. A victory will create wild celebration. Neither result alone should define the future, but the first tournament will establish the emotional direction. Carlos needs patience, not desperation. His movement, confidence, and ability to recover between matches will matter more than one spectacular highlight. If he struggles, critics will mention Italy. Should he win, those same critics may call the trip perfect mental preparation. That hypocrisy is almost guaranteed. Our final verdict must remain fair. Ferrero did not reveal that a new woman damaged Alcaraz's career. Available reporting does not support that claim. Claudia Canals has not publicly been identified by Carlos as his girlfriend. Photographs created speculation, not proof. However, Ferrero did reveal something more meaningful after their split. He and Alcaraz disagreed about the conditions required to move forward. The wider environment may have influenced that decision. Those comments raise legitimate questions about discipline, authority, and direction. Carlos now carries full responsibility for answering them. No girlfriend rumor can serve as an excuse. No former coach can protect him from every criticism. The next stage belongs to Alcaraz and the team he chose. Perhaps this new freedom will make him happier and even more dangerous. Maybe Samuel Lopez will create a calmer environment that keeps Carlos healthy. A personal relationship, if one exists, could provide support during a difficult injury. There is another possibility. Without Ferrero's firm voice, small compromises could begin piling up. One altered practice becomes an easier schedule. Extra commitments reduce recovery. Freedom slowly turns into distraction. By the time results expose the problem, months have already disappeared. That is the nightmare fans fear. Not Claudia, not a boat, not a holiday. They fear watching a once-in-a-generation talent leave greatness unfinished. Alcaraz can destroy that fear by showing the habits Ferrero spent 7 years teaching him. Arrive prepared, protect the body, respect the process, compete with courage, accept honest criticism, keep joy without losing discipline. Those lessons still belong to Carlos, even if the coach who delivered them has moved on. So, is Alcaraz no longer serious about his career? There is currently no fair evidence for such a harsh conclusion. His injury and private vacation do not prove a collapse in commitment. Nevertheless, the questions will continue until he returns. That is the price of enormous talent. People expect enormous standards. Drop your verdict in the comments. Are fans unfairly invading Carlos Alcaraz's private life, or does the timing give them a genuine reason to worry? Could he become stronger without Ferrero, or was separating from his toughest voice a dangerous mistake? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next update. Carlos does not need to reveal his relationship. He needs to reveal his level. When he finally steps back onto the court, we will discover whether this was harmless summer gossip, or the first warning sign of a much bigger career battle.